Dr. Renee Bovelle currently owns and is medical director of Advanced Eye Care Medical Center. In addition to being a fabulous eye surgeon, she is my loving and supportive lead mentor. Renee holds a bachelor's degree from Wellesley and a medical degree from UCLA School of Medicine. She also earned a master's in cybersecurity from George Washington University. She loves chocolate and dancing. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Renee Bovelle. Um, Socheata Touch. Socheata Touch has done many amazing things to support women in Cambodia, including publishing a book about female Cambodian leaders and leading Womenton, a supportive network for new entrepreneurs. Currently, she is co-founder and CEO of Wemo, an eco-commerce platform for local women-made products in Cambodia. She has a bachelor's degree from the National University of Cambodia, a master's from Victoria University of Wellington in New Zealand, and was a Fulbright scholar at both Tufts and American University. Socheta has a fun way to remember how to pronounce her last name. Not pronounced like touch, but tush. You can remember this by saying Socheta can't be touched. The last person is Yvette Chesson-Wureh, who first and foremost was our 2018 Revolution 2.0 She Does honoree. She is the establishment coordinator of the influential Liberian-based Angie Brooks International Center for Women's Empowerment, Leadership Development, and International Peace and Security. As an advocate and champion of women's rights and gender equality in Liberia, she is best known for initiating the Women's Situation Room, which engages African women in ensuring peaceful, democratic elections in many nations in the African Union. After completing her undergraduate degree at the University of Liberia, she received her Juris Doctor Law degree from North Carolina Central University School of Law. Yvette is a lover of computer games and travels. So let's please welcome this amazing woman.
Thank you. Thank you, Myra, for that lovely introduction. We appreciate that. We're going to get right into it. I know we have just a short time. And today, the focus is on engagement. And we want to focus on your engagement and how we can enlighten your path to becoming a leader. And you've been charged by becoming a, a She Can scholar. You have accepted the responsibility to become change agents in your countries and in your communities. And I know that seems overwhelming, and you may wonder, I'm, 17, 18, 19, 22 years old. How am I going to do that? Well, all is possible. And hopefully by the end of this session, you will be able to internalize that. And we're going to share with you some of our experiences so that you can truly understand how one person can make a difference. I think there's a lot of background noise. So what I'm going to ask for now is if, except for the moderators, if you're not speaking, if you can mute yourselves. So any of the scholars, please make sure that you're muted. Can everyone hear me? Well, you can just nod your head. Okay, very good. All righty. So I would like to start with Socheata, and please tell us, how did you become a change agent? And what was your inspiration? What inside of you led you to become a change agent?
Yes, thank you, and good morning to everyone, and good evening or good night to other people, because maybe we are from different country. And I also would like to say thank you to CK, especially Bob, that invited me to join this significant event. I'm so glad to be part of this panelists. And I also thank to other organizers to make it happen, and welcome, and also hello to all Sikan scholar, and congratulate to all of you to accepted to be a scholar for Sikan program. To answer your questions, actually, a lot of things that inspire me, especially my mom, because being a woman is not that easy to be a mother, to be a woman in society, and to raise. It's so difficult. So when I was born, I saw her that she came across a lot of challenges. So that's why I told myself when I was young, and when I met other women, I inspired by those women. So then I always tell myself, okay, I have to do more to make more changes for women community. That's why the way I work, the way I run my business, I always keep women as the cornerstone of everything I'm doing.
Fantastic. I'm going to ask you another question, Socheata. Can you let us know what is it that you are doing now that you are a change agent? Can you tell us about your businesses and what is it that you're doing, and how does this help other women?
Yeah, so currently, like the first moderator already mentioned, I'm also the co-founder and the CEO of Wemo. Wemo is the e-commerce for women locally made product in Cambodia, and I'm also the Southeast Asia director of Momentum. Momentum is the social enterprise to promote women entrepreneurship in the region. So it's not just only in Cambodia, but women in Asia in particular. So the women that we are helping in our Wemo community, we have more than 150 women producer and women vendor in our platform. And then you can imagine one woman, one business that run by women. So they also have at least 5 or 10 other staff. So when we have women, I feel that I can have other community. I can create more job for our community, because our vendor, woman vendor, woman producer, they are locating in different provinces. Some they are from rural area in Siem Reap, in Battambang, in other places in Cambodia. So I feel that when I run this business, I not just only have myself, I have my woman community, I have other people to create it for job for them. So then they don't really need to migrate to other country, because they have job to do. They can earn money to support their family. This is what I'm doing. Yes, for Wemo.
I love that, Socheata. So it seems like you realize that by helping other women, you help a community, you help yourself, and I dare say you not only help Asia, you help the world. Yvette, I know that you are on the same path. Can you please let us know what is it that you do? We're not hearing you, Yvette. You have to unmute.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, thank you very much, first of all, for having me. thanks Shikan for this opportunity. And hello to all the scholars. Very pleased to be here. I just want to say what I do is I'm the establishment coordinator of the Angie Brooks International Center for Women's Empowerment, Leadership Development, International Peace and Security. And in that position, I lead the Angie Brooks International Center, which does a lot of things on the international scene as well as the national scene. Internationally, we do the Women's Situation Room, where women in Africa take over their countries during elections to prevent electoral violence. So we hold the politicians' feet to the fire. We prevent the youth from going ahead and using that as an opportunity to destabilize their countries. And therefore, we ensure that there's peace during elections and that mothers don't have to cry because their children are being killed on the streets. So that's one of the things that we do. And also it enables women to understand it's their responsibility to make sure that they have peace in their countries. Because when there's no peace, we are the first to suffer and we suffer the most. So we have to also take the responsibility to ensure our peace. And that's what the Women's Situation Room does. Besides that, we have in Liberia, we have other programs like these very same youth that we are dealing with during the Women's Situation Room are usually the very disadvantaged young people who are giving $5 and $3 by politicians to go on the street and destabilize the country. However, since we engaged them during the period of elections to say, don't do this, you should stop it, don't do it, it's not worth it, you have to also find a way for them to have some hope when there are no elections. And that's one of the things that we're doing. We have a program called the Slumpreneurship Program, where we go in and work with these young people. We train them in entrepreneurship, and they in turn have to find a business project within their communities that first of all will enhance their community, will be a real business, and in which they will engage in. And we gave them, we gave them the seed funding to start that project and to start that business in their community, so that they're no longer just sitting back and waiting for people or stealing or doing all of these things, but now they've become entrepreneurs and have gone into the real legal mode of entrepreneurship. They're uplifting their communities from which they've been stealing and doing terrible things to, so the community starts to see them in a new light. So all of this is happening as part of it. And of course, we have our Pink Panthers, our girl motorcyclists. And that for us is important because it shows girls that they can do anything boys can do, if not better. And that was important for us because in Africa, we have a lot of motorcyclists who are commercial motorcyclists that move people and goods and services up and down. So it's good to see girls actually entering that foray.
I think that is fantastic. And I would like to let everyone know that actually you inspired me for the name of this panel, that one person can make a difference. I had the opportunity several months ago to meet with Yvette, and we were at dinner, and she was talking about all that she has done to help with the elections throughout Africa, not only Liberia, but throughout Africa. And then I asked her, how can one person make a difference? And as many of you know, today is January 6th. And last year, this time, we had a lot of violence here in our own country, here in the United States, in my hometown, which is Washington, D.C., where I'm talking to you from. So I think we could have used Yvette to help us prevent some of this. But moving on, I'd like to share with you my journey of becoming a change agent in my path. I'd like everyone to know this is really the first time since I started becoming involved with Shikan that I am a change agent. I did not consider myself that. So I don't want you to think that it's something that you have to, that doesn't have to be in the forefront of your mind. For me, I always knew I wanted to become a physician. And like Yvette and like Socheata, I was inspired by my parents. I grew up knowing that I had to make a positive contribution to society. That if that wasn't said to me once a month or once a week, it was just always in my head. My parents said that, and they gave us examples of people who did that. My parents had us stay home on Malcolm X Day. And we didn't just stay home and relax. We actually had to learn about Malcolm X. We had to learn who he was. We had to do outside homework. And we had to write essays, and we had to learn how to read the paper. This was in addition to our schoolwork. So we were taught excellence. So that's number one. And then I remember after I graduated from college, there was probably something going on in civil rights era. I can't remember exactly what it was. It could have been maybe with South Africa and the apartheid movement. And I felt like I needed to do something. And if you ever see my graduation picture from college, I have an armband on for asking the United States to divest in South Africa until they end apartheid. But somebody told me, they said, Renee, stay on your path, do what you want to do. And once you finished your education, then you will see you can make more of a difference in the world. So I want you guys to recognize that and remember that. So going back to Socheata, please let me know, you're doing so much now, but you didn't always start out like that. So please tell me how you started. What did you do just as you were coming out of college or right out of college? And what was your path?
Yes, thank you. Actually, I also like other women, other girls. So my mom, my dad always give me a lot of chance, especially education, because they believe in education. So every time when I ask for studies, they always send me to every school that I want teach. So I'm lucky enough I'm the oldest in the family. Actually, when we talk about woman or girl in family, so the oldest one always have a lot of burdens, a lot of obligation, a lot of responsibility. But in my family, we are not a rich family, but my parents always gives a value of education. So they always send me to school. They always give me time and support to study. So that's why the belief, the value that I also give back to my society is about culture of sharing, culture of giving, especially knowledge and experiences that I have earned so far. So after graduate from university, I work for local NGO, I work for UN agency, I work for international organization, I work for corporates. So a lot of experience I earned. So I always observe that women still have less power, or women and girls still have a lot of challenges in their business, in their job, or in their career. So then I always discuss with a policy maker or with other development partner, donor, or other organization. So what can be done? Even now I'm still from NGO work or international NGO career to run my businesses, but I still feel that if we want to run our business successfully, unless you give chances to others women, that's why the way I'm doing my job, my business. So I always think that women should join hands and women should voice out our concern and get support from the men and other stakeholders. So this is the principle that I have so far.
I love it. And I'm going to come back to you because we have another question for you. But before we do that, I'd like to ask Yvette the same question. What did you do right out of college, and what was your path to doing what you do? And before you answer, if anyone, please feel free to put questions in the chat and we will incorporate them.
Okay, it depends. Well, right out of college, right out of the University of Liberia here, before I went to the United States and went to Shaw. The first thing I did out of college was to go into government, because my whole household is a household of public service. That's the household I grew up in. My father and my mother. My father was the Attorney General. My mother was in private practice in law. Both of them are lawyers. But it was a house of public service, and it was always emphasized that it's so necessary. So straight out.
I think we have, it's
Looks like she's
might be
reconnecting.
freezing a little bit.
Mhm. Yeah, it looks
Okay,
like she's
that
reconnecting.
we may have
Area.
lost you.
Telecommunications.
Oh, can you repeat that, Yvette? We missed a little bit. You froze a little bit. We heard that your parents were both in public service. Your father was Attorney General, your mom was a lawyer, and then we missed the rest.
Okay, I'm saying that so that we were brought up in this whole atmosphere of public service. That is the best thing. It's important to move Liberia forward. And of course, Liberia being the emphasis at all times. We grew up in a very patriotic household because I have a historical reference to the very first settlers of Liberia and the founding of Liberia. And so we're a very, very patriotic household. And right out of college, I started working at the Ministry of Posts and Telecommunications. And I became an assistant minister for Posts and Telecommunications as special assistant to the minister, meaning I was then tasked with dealing with the minister, what's happening on his day-to-day agenda, briefing him for meetings, doing research, etc. So that was the first thing I did.
Okay, it may be the bandwidth. You know, Yvette, what I'm going to ask is if you can turn off your picture, because sometimes turn off your video, because sometimes that takes up more bandwidth. So Yvette, I'm going to ask if you can turn off your video, but still speak, because sometimes yes, that's
okay.
good.
Let's try that.
Great.
So anyway, like I said, a coup d'etat occurred in Liberia, and we moved to the United States. And then I had to go to school again, went to Shaw University, got a BA in Shaw, and then went to law school. And then after law school in North Carolina, I moved to Washington, D.C. because of the need to advocate for Liberia. Liberia was at war. We had a civil war, and we needed people to advocate. So I moved to Washington, D.C., took the bar in Washington, D.C. As a matter of fact, Maryland, passed the bar and decided, what did I really want to do? I wanted to do something that had to do with the public again. I went to legal aid, to the Legal Aid Bureau, where I really felt we gave back. And that's where I had a career for 25 years, heading the Legal Aid Bureau in Maryland, the division that dealt with domestic relations at the Maryland Legal Aid Bureau. And the first thing I did there, as a matter of fact, was children in need of assistance, children who are abused, abandoned, or neglected, and are brought into care, and help write the law in Maryland regarding these children and taking care of them. And then including immigrant children who at the time being abused, the abusers usually wanted them to go back to their countries of origin. So we had to write the law, which is called the jail law under the American immigration law, that deals with these children to get them secure. And then I moved into more or less domestic relations, dealing with child custody issues and divorces and marriages, but for disadvantaged women, because we found that women, especially women, were at a huge disadvantage going into a custody case with somebody who had probably a college degree, and they were probably on welfare, and therefore couldn't compete when it came to taking care of their children, because these men, normally men, who bring in huge, powerful lawyers that came in against these women who are on welfare and couldn't afford lawyers. And therefore, the children who they had taken care of for maybe 12 years, and these men had been nowhere in sight, are ripped from them and given to their fathers, because their fathers don't want to pay child support to these poor women. So I became a major advocate for these women. And it was very satisfying work, I can tell you.
We appreciate that. And so it sounds like I'm hearing from both Socheata and Yvette that the work that you do for others is satisfying for you, and you get a reward from that. I will share my experience with that as well. But first, we did, let's see, have a question here from Thierry for Socheata. She says, when you started Wemo, what are some of the challenges you faced, and how did you get women from different provinces to work with you?
Yes, thank you, Thierry, for your question. Actually, running a business is not that easy, but it comes from your own commitment, your own confidence that you can make it. Because the idea of creating e-commerce, I had it in 2017 when I attended the ASEAN Summit in Philippines. At the time, I saw a lot of women in cross-border trade, and also they have done a good job. So I told myself I should do something when I back to my own country. At the time, I wrote a proposal to one ministry and one business association, but my proposal was not convincing enough at the time. So then I have a chance to conduct my Fulbright research project in US in 2019. So I found that, okay, there should be something that I can do. So then when I have a discussion with different players in US, so I found out there are many good things, many good connections that I can learn from. So I start thinking of reactivate my e-commerce proposal. So when I back to Cambodia in 2020, so I talked to one of my woman co-founder. So we have similar, we have the same direction, the same goal. So we finally end up to create Wemo and we launched our Wemo platform in August 2020. Even it was not a good time, but finally we can make it even we are in the COVID situation. So the story that I want to highlight here, if you want something, even it's not the right time at the moment, but keep it. And then at one time, you can find the right people, the right time to do what you want to do. So don't give up. So this is the message I want to send to our scholar here. And the challenge that I currently facing, you already know that e-commerce is related to some digital skill, and then women and girls, most of them are digital illiteracy. They don't really know how to use digital tool, and then we have a lot of challenges to onboarding our women vendor or woman producer into our platform. This one challenge that I am facing. And the second challenge I can say is about because e-commerce is also new to our people in Cambodia. So it's about customer, because when we talk about business, it's about customer. So how many people they get used to buying stuff from platform, e-commerce platform. So during the COVID-19, most of people they buy food, they buy grocery. But for Wemo, we don't sell grocery or food related stuff. So there are some challenges for us as well to make people know about our product on our platform. And the third challenges that I have is about product innovation, because we want to sell our local product not just only in Cambodia, but we want to sell it to other countries in the region, or also get into global supply chain. And then product quality, product standard is still another challenges for us. But we work closely with our development partner or other experts to help our women producer to make sure that they have some creativity to develop or to improve their product in order to meet international or global standards. So these are the three main challenges I want to share with you. And how to get a woman from different provinces, as I told from the beginning, because I used to work for NGO, I used to work for other women communities. So it's easy for me to engage them, to involve them into my Wemo. Because through business network, through community network, it's easy to send out information about Wemo, and then everyone know me clearly who I am, and then it's about trust building from the beginning. So then it's easy. Sometimes they approach me to get their product on my platform.
That's fantastic. It sounds like what you're saying and what Yvette has been saying is this is something that you start a foundation and then grow with that foundation. And we have a couple of questions here. How do you plan your life to be where you are right now? And then, suppose you don't have parents who have role models to stand up by themselves. And I'd like to kind of combine both of those. First of all, I'd like to say that with each and every young lady who is here, your parents instilled something in you that let you know that you can go further than maybe what they have had. So a role model does not have to be the president of a company or, the richest person in the country, okay? Your parents are all role models because somehow they instilled within you the drive, the belief, and the passion that you can move from your country, come to another country for 4 years and know that you're going to make a difference. So please, I want everybody, no matter what country they're from, to realize that. And then how do you plan your life to be where you are right now? Well, I'll say, everyone or people have heard in the United States, you know, the best laid plans. You know, you can plan for one thing, but life is what happens while you're planning. But I will say this for me. When I was in college, I was always of service. That's not to say I didn't have fun, but I always made sure that I was doing fun things, but I was also making sure that I was helping others along the way. And when I got to med school, I did the same thing. I was active in the Student National Medical Association, and that was helpful to other people along the way, in addition to myself. So while you guys are in college, you can be active in organizations that are coincide with what you want to do, not just for yourself, but are going to help others. In all of the colleges, they have all kind of entrepreneurship organizations. They may have health organizations, just organizations that show you are of service. And so I think if with this organization, we want you to be of service. And because you're part of this, I believe that's what you all want also. So as you are of service now on whatever level you're at, whether it's college and then grad school or college, business, entrepreneurship, then actually what happens, the universe will come to you and help you to rise up and do things you never thought you could do. And that even happened to me with working with Chesson. I went to Wellesley College. I heard that they were looking to bring Wellesley on as a Chesson school, but there were other people from Wellesley who were working on this, but we hadn't sealed the deal. Well, it turned out I was going to a event. The president of Wellesley was going to be there. I never thought I was going to talk to the president of Wellesley College, but because I was so passionate about Chesson, I went right up to her and I told her, you have to do this. How do we make this happen? This is so important. We need to get Wellesley on. And then I bugged her and I bugged her. And with all of us working together as a team, it happened. So sometimes you can't think of things, what you're going to do. And I would challenge each of you, if you have time over this spring Christmas vacation, to read Michelle Obama's book Becoming, because you never reach a place. You're always becoming. You're always working. So I'd say just think of a life of service and do it as you can. And then I would like to ask Yvette, you know, I know you're always growing. You have inspired me. Can you let me know who are some of the people you surround yourself and how do you get your inspiration?
Oh, thank you. I'm really inspired a lot of time from within, just from my environment alone. It inspires me. I think one of the things we forget is that we are creators. People forget that power that we have, that is given to us, that we're not only creatures, but we as creatures can create. And the one thing that I love to do is to create. So as I'm inspired to create all the time, as I see issues arise, the inspiration comes to me to do this or to move this way. And I love to collaborate. That is one thing I think, again, as creators, we forget we can collaborate with other creators and hear their ideas and hear their creative ideas. So even with the work that I do with the who we call the Zogos, that is the youth, these disadvantaged young people who are at the very barrel, I collaborate with them. And I'm constantly challenged to find ways for them to create and enable them to create, because with creation comes ownership. And with ownership comes excellence, a striving to be excellent. So that is the one thing that I do. So the youth inspire me. They inspire me a lot. I see things, I can see things like 50 years down the road. Oh, this would be wonderful. You know, like what, I've forgotten who made it. Some people see things and say why. I see things and say why not.
Yes.
And that is how I'm passionate. That's why I'm passionate about these things. I'm passionate about creating things and getting people to join me in creative ventures. And so each thing I do, I try to be very creative. I also rightfully surround myself with people who inspire me, like Olubanki King Akoreli, a real Liberian genius. She inspires me all the time. She comes up with crazy ideas, but we somehow manage them. Um, Johnson Sirleaf, the president of Liberia, and the things that she went through, you know. So these are women that truly inspire me as well. Because as we sit and talk about, you know, what's going on and what's happening and how we're going to deal with this and how we're going to be doing with that, the inspiration comes to open avenues for us. But I want to say something here, Renee, that I think is so important, is to emphasize to these young women the need for education. And the reason I'm saying this is because I came from a family that was totally educated. Both my parents are lawyers. Okay. The point is, a coup d'etat happened in my country. And we're all, the countries that I'm saying Shikan is dealing with are all politically unstable countries that at any time something can happen. At any time changes can occur and they will have to land on their feet. And I want to say to you, as a victim of a coup d'etat in which my father was killed, okay? As a victim of a coup d'etat in which I had to leave everything behind, including my college degree, including everything I own, and leave the country. The one thing you don't leave behind is your education. It is between your ears. Remember that. They can strip you buck naked. You are still educated. You will still land on your feet. You will still make it in this world. And I'm telling you this from experience. So I really want to stress, don't let anybody play with your education. Don't let anything outside there deter you. And coming from somebody who's coming from outside the United States, I know the temptation in the United States to go to malls and do all these different things and spend your time doing that instead of your homework, etc., or buying things instead of buying your books. Buy your books. Your books will buy you everything in the future. Your books will buy your house. Your books will buy your car. Your books will buy your clothes. Again, I'm telling them this from my experience. Believe me, I landed in the United States with $200. I ended up in who's who in American law schools. I ended up in the Supreme Court of the United States. I ended up a member of the bar of the Supreme Court of Liberia. So I'm just telling you, education is the way. Don't think that that boyfriend you're in the car with, you've got to do everything for him. Let me tell you, I don't care how beautiful you are. I don't care how beautiful you are. There's a woman more beautiful than you. Believe me. And his head will turn if that's what he's interested in. But when you are in charge of yourself, when you are educated and can stand on your own, it doesn't matter. You will walk away from a broken heart and you will land. I think this is so important at this age, at 17, 18, 19, and 20, that we really understand we need you to concentrate on education. You will have men. Don't worry, there are plenty. They're like fish in the sea. They will come sniffing after you because you will be a self-confident woman. I'm telling you till now, as old as I am, men still running behind me. That's nothing. You will always have men running behind you. Don't mind them. You know, get yourself together. I can't, I'm sorry, I know I'm off. I'm probably not dealing with what you want, but I feel this is so important at this age that we understand these things.
You have touched on so many points. And I think what I've gotten from both Socheata and Yvette is the word of the day is excellence. And in order to be excellent, what does that mean? That doesn't mean just doing the assignment. It means going above and beyond. So if someone asks you to do something, you want to do the research behind it. You don't want to just do the bare minimum. And you all have something that Socheata, Yvette, and I did not have when we were growing up, and that is the internet. So when you want to find something else, we had books. We had like 20 of these. I had 20 books, encyclopedia, and I would look that up.
Britannica.
Now, yes. Now, you all have the internet. There is no reason why when somebody asks you to do something, you can say, I don't know. You don't even have to pose it in a certain way. You can ask the internet, hey, how do I do this? And it'll give you some answers. Now, I'm not saying take the answers from the internet, but when you're talking to someone, you can say, I want to know how to do this. I was thinking this is the way. Can you provide some guidance? The other thing, somebody mentioned something about if you don't have parents who are role models. Well, I gave you the thoughts on that. But each of you has 3 to 5 second parents as mentors who are all doing great. Most people don't have 3 to 5 built-in mentors. Please, you guys, take advantage of that, because we just chose Yvette and Socheata, but any of your mentors could have been on this call as the interviewees. So you all have so much to take advantage of. And it really hurts our hearts when we see that you don't take advantage of things as you should. Are there any last before we close? So Cheta, is there anything you can say about when maybe you didn't reach a goal, maybe you felt like you had what some might call a failure? How did you recover from that, and how did you handle that?
Yeah, I actually want to touch on that as well, because the life is not always good for you. So being a girl, being a woman, you need to be strong. You need to love yourself. Even you fail many times, but you need to stand up. You need to speak out, and you need to ask for support, because somehow I have a good discussion with other men leaders in my industry when we talk about digitalization is the main industry. So when we talk about challenges, the men always ask, so if you as a woman don't talk or don't say something, so how can I know what you need? So then it remind me all the time. So if I need something, if I want something, I need to speak out. I need to believe in myself. What I'm doing is the right thing to do, and I speak out what I need. So then I already get support when I speak out. So that's why the life I have in development work with business, so there are some challenges, but when I speak out, I always get a good advice. I always get support from either man or woman in business community. So don't feel that you are not good. You need to make sure that if you don't know something, just ask. If you need something, just speak out. So this is the message that I always send to any young girl or young people in my community or in other countries. So you need to be brave enough to say some things, because you have your own voice. Sometimes when I join an international event, or when I was invited to be a speaker in the international platform. Some people said, so don't you scared? Because all the time I saw a lot of men in the as the panelists. So we rarely see a woman panelist in those forums. I said, I never scared because I have also my own voice. So everywhere I go, I need to voice out my opinions. If they don't give me opportunity, I just ask, why you invite me, but why don't I have a chance to say? So this is the way I'm show off my capacity as a woman.
I agree. That is perfect. And in summary, I'd like to say, as I mentioned, no one just arrives. You're always growing. It's important to surround yourself with like-minded people. You have to do your best. And you know when you're doing your best. You know when you're kind of faking it, and you know when you're not. And when you're faking it, you're actually just cheating yourself. And we do not want you to do that. We want you to go above and beyond. And once you have that foundation, you know you can do it. You know how to research things. Then you can figure anything else out. And I mean, I even found that out for myself a few years ago. I'm already a very accomplished surgeon, and the field of cybersecurity came knocking at my door because we had to do certain things with cybersecurity. We had to keep our patients' data safe. I wanted to know more about that. And I remember thinking, I wonder if I can find out more about that. I surrounded myself, I had people around me, and I asked a friend of mine, I said, do you think I could learn more about this? Even though I've never done computer work before, I don't have a computer background. Do you think I can get a degree in cybersecurity? And luckily I had someone around me. And he said, of course you can. Like, it wasn't, and so that inspired me. You surround yourself with people who believe in you. So I got a degree in cybersecurity. And next thing I knew, I was giving national talks, still am, developed national talks, gave the first talk to our academy on cybersecurity, the first talk in Maryland on cybersecurity for physicians. I don't know if there are any other physicians who have a master's degree in cybersecurity, probably maybe a handful, like 5. So you do what you want. You start now, and your successes will spur you on, and you put in the work. And as you put in the work, other people will come into your life to help you rise up to whatever occasion you face.
Wow,
Is there anything
thank
else,
you.
Grace?
No, that was perfect. And we are right at time. I just want to say, wow, thank you so much, Dr. Bovelle, Yvette, Socheata. That was so wonderful and really inspiring. Thank you all.